Hi Diego! Today is day 69 and this is going to be our video blog. Week 2, I had a flood in the basement, hot water heater problem went out, and that caused me to delay my new weekly blog by one day. I hope everybody understands. There were some good questions, but first I want to show you our container garden. This is lettuce. These are loose leaf lettuce plants that Angie has planted, and we give these away at our charity booth at the farmers market, encouraging people to donate and stop and read and learn more about sustainable agriculture and energy independence. These here are Chinese yams. I forget what these are. These are all native Washington plants. And then we've got some flowers, some more lettuce, some more plants, and then we have our snapdragon garden. Oh look, there's a fat slug right there. Not liking the irrigation. There's our drip irrigation. These are micro sprinklers. And we water all of these containers here with just this one micro sprinkler, and this one is a half fan. So it's 180 degrees. These plants have to be watered by hand because they require less water. Our tomato garden here is 2 cherry tomato plants, and they are trellised up to the roof there, and they need to be watered by hand because they need more water than the rest of the plants. And as you can see, they're just in containers. These are the lettuce plants that I harvest every week, and as you can see, they're ready to harvest again. And then we have the tomato garden that Angie's going to be, well, she's just pruned it up so it's doing good. And then our potatoes are over here. And our fish pond is over there, and our future chicken pen is right there. So, these are the micro emitter sprinklers. I believe it's the dig system .com, and it's drip irrigation. This was invented in Israel. Pretty cool stuff. I also use drip tape. So, some good questions for our weekly blog here, and Hyla from Hyla's Cooking had a very good question about smoke and how to get some smoke maybe going on inside the house without using a barbecue. And Leela from Asian Cooking Made Simple had a lot of good questions, and we're going to address those. I'm just out here enjoying the morning coffee and walking through the garden, something I haven't been able to do in 3 or 4 days now. I've gave 2 demos at the Mushroom Festival, and we had a booth there, and while that was all going on, our well broke, and then when the well came back on, we found that the hot water heater broke. Good news on the hot water heater breaking is it has made us decide to go to propane on demand hot water, and we're relocating the water heater next to where our biodigester is planned. We're going to have an interior biodigester in our basement where we will create methane gas to supply our hot water. So we will remove ourselves from the grid, this first component, by removing hot water. We will no longer be buying green energy to power our hot water tank. Instead, we will use green energy we create out of our own waste. It's going to be a real simple method. We're just going to have the biodigester plumbed into the upstairs toilet where it goes down to the septic. It'll go through the biodigester and then back into the septic tank. We'll have another valve to take the fluid out so we can analyze its properties once we get some funding for that kind of a thing. We'll take all of our food scraps and we will pulverize them in our food processor, since we don't have a garbage disposal and we don't use our food processor, and we'll dump them in the toilet and flush them down too. The goal is to create more than enough methane to provide all of our hot water, and then the second phase of that goal would be to add a generator, and we do have a gas-powered generator that we can convert to methane. And with that, we could then start adding batteries and start converting different rooms in our house to off-grid. So that's how we're going to promote sustainable agriculture. This is very sustainable, folks. And energy independence. We're just going to do it. hope to get some funding so we can spread this across America and the rest of the world. Isn't that a cute snapdragon? And this is their second blooming this year. And the roots are edible. And it's gonna get way big. And if you wanted to know what you can do with all those little plants in the 4-inch pots, you just put one of each kind in a big pot, and they go like that. They go crazy. Pretty cool, huh? Alright, this video is for T.H. Calhoun. You inspired me to try something different with all your talk about aluminum pans and making hydrogen. I should have took a before picture, but this aluminum pan was completely covered in burnt on barbecue stuff. And there was no way we were going to scrub this again and use it. We had cleaned it up once, but we just weren't going to try and do it. We probably would have punctured holes in it, scraping the food off. And so 2 weeks ago, I believe it was, I put it in the pond right here where it's shallow, and I let the pond critters do my work, and it worked. That's pretty clean. I could run this through the dishwasher technically and use it again. So here we are, inspired to try just that. These are products that are going to take some scrubbing. So my wife, being the most loving, kind woman in the world, is allowing me to put our kitchen food in the pond, kitchen utensils in the pond. This is really, that's just a piece of bacon, which they love bacon, by the way. You can see the goldfish are already starting to come around. Now you notice there's some oil here on top. That's not a real big problem because I'm going to flood the pond and it's going to siphon off. I probably could have rinsed this off before I put it in here, but we're doing an experiment. And we want more surface area for everything to get cleaned up. So I'll leave all these in here for a week, and then I'll come back and I'll probably flip over everything and see how that works. So, this is the redneck way of cleaning your kitchen utensils. Literally putting it in the pond. Goldfish are already coming around for their meal. How cool is that? And once again, it's what it does. Kind of interesting how this metal is turned color, but the stuck-on stuff is able to be scrubbed off with just my thumb now. Pretty cool. Anyways, the idea was just to test this because I'm going to turn this sheet of pan into hydrogen using ashes from my barbecue. Thanks a lot, TH. You are an inspiration and full of great ideas. Alright, this portion of our video blog goes out to Hyla Cooking. She's a great sister from another kitchen, and she has a great show. This is a barbecue pellet from Bear Mountain. Sweet cherry, it says. This is what the partial one looks like before you get it wet, and once they get wet, they expand, and when they dry out, it turns into sawdust. And her question was, how could you smoke, or have I ever tried to smoke, inside the house without a barbecue? And I've given it a lot of thought, and I would say if you used a sawdust like this with a small piece of charcoal you can get from where you buy incense, and an incense burner you can also get there, you could probably use your oven or an old microwave type device, or even a box of some sort, and you could put some fish in there, and you could light your charcoal, and you could put some of this on top, and it will smoke. The trick is to have very little smoke. You don't want to over smoke, and you don't want to set off your fire alarm type thing. Just want a little bit. And you could try that for well, what I would do is I would put in 3 pieces of fish. I would try one for take one out at half an hour, then cook it, take one out at an hour and cook it, and then take another one out at an hour and a half and cook it, or some sort of time-spaced ratio like that. And that will give you the idea of how well that smoke flavor is working. Like I said, I would do it inside an incense burner. They have metal containers. You put a little piece of charcoal in and a little piece of sawdust, and it smokes. So that is my answer to your question. Yes, I do believe it is possible, and as I said, I would try it with 3 different time factors to see how it works, and if you do try this, I would really appreciate knowing how it works out for you. I love your show, and I recommend everybody watching this to go check out her show. On with the blog. We have a question from Leela. Asian Cooking Made Simple. Great YouTube channel. Great cooking. Really sweet gal. How do you get the potassium from the wood? The hardwoods that have potassium in them will release that into the ash. So when you barbecue with hardwood or you smoke with it, and all the ash that comes out of that can be collected. And one of the experimental projects T.H. Culhane is working on is taking aluminum and barbecue ash, pot ash, it has potassium in it, and creating hydrogen from it. So it's an on-demand hydrogen source. You don't have to store the hydrogen gas, you just... the soil fertility is one where we're going to prove that by having unbalanced soil, you'll have less balanced and healthy vegetables than if you balance it out to all 16 elements. And to find out more about that, you can go to kinseyegg.com. He has some good books, and the biodigester. And the biodigester is taking all of your kitchen waste and your sewage and running it in through a digester and collecting the methane that will produce. And you can take that, and we're going to take our hot water system off grid. Our house had a recent hot water leak. You saw some photos probably here, and I mentioned it earlier. And so in the process, we're just going to implement the biodigester in our basement. We're going to try and get a big enough system that we can at least power create enough methane to power the hot water heater. The entire house sustainably, and we'll do that one system or maybe one room at a time. If I can produce enough gas, I can run a gas generator, and so if I get a couple of batteries, I can then say power my bedroom because it just has lights and a radio and it doesn't have a lot of power requirements. That could be taken off the grid and individually powered, so I have a green room I can enjoy. Oh, and the custom barbecue pit I'm building. I want to talk about that because I want people to help me out as I go along. I saw somebody build something similar to it. It was much bigger, and I had planned on doing that on the end of my pond anyways. So I built this one, and I realized that my grate is going to allow me to move it 2 blocks to the right, so it'll be wider, and I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to try and get some those red cinder block caps and put those around the barbecue so it'll look nice and retain heat a little better. So we're going to work on this grill and playing around with it more this year. I'm not sure what I'm going to do in the wintertime because it probably can't be, it's probably not going to work real well without a lid or a cover or something over it. We'll see. We'll evolve it together, and hopefully you'll have a lot of comments and suggestions and ideas, and we can figure out how to make this one of the best barbecue pits you can build for almost nothing. Thank you for watching the show today, and thank you for asking questions, and I hope I've inspired you to ask a couple more questions, and we'll keep this blog going. The Thurston County Amateur Barbecue Cook-Off is coming up. We're winding down Town Olympia. This is the second to last qualifying round you can compete in this year. Chef Barry Martin from Charbroil LLC, their chief grilling officer, is going to be down showing us how to cook up a 10-foot banana split. He's going to grill bananas and pineapple, and we're going to make a 10-foot banana split for anybody who shows up to eat. That'll be at 1 p.m. on August the 4th between 4th and State on Chestnut Street in downtown Olympia. Hope to see you there. It runs till 6. Thank you for watching, rating, commenting, and subscribing, sharing, favoriting, and asking questions. Have a great day. Love, peace.